Team.
Welcome to Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. I am your host, Anthony Sykes. Welcome, everyone. I'm Anthony Sykes, and you're on the Rant Radio Network.com. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, 855-969-7268, or send me an email, and I will answer it on the next show at asykes@sykesaccounting.com. What we do, Anthony Sykes and Company, is a tax and accounting firm, obviously, but we like to do more. What makes us different from the competition is that we help you get from where you are to where you want to be. I invite you to take a look at our website. That's www.sykesaccounting.com. Also, sign up for our free newsletter. It has a lot of interesting tips, whether you are in business or thinking about getting in business, or you just want to keep up on what's going on, kind of like what's happening right now. Take a look at our seminar website or seminar section in our website, and that tells you where we're going to be giving the next free seminar. All the seminars are free unless we have to charge a fee because we need to cover some costs. Generally, so far I've been able to have sponsors who pick up most of the costs, and the rest I cover because my objective is to give you that information that will help you make your company grow. Now, the next one I have coming up, and save the date, is on October 23rd, which is about 3 weeks from yesterday, actually. It's from 9 to 12. It's going to be at Tamayo Restaurant, and that's at 5300 East Olympic Boulevard in LA. Really, it's about like East LA. It's sponsored by Telecu, and that is they're a I guess in 10 seconds or less to describe it. They're a company that helps small businesses with financing, with business plans, networking, and so on. Contact. You need to RSVP because the seating is limited. Contact Sonia Gonzalez at 323-832-5477, or you can email her at sgonzalez@telacu.com. I hope to see you there because I'm giving this on how to create a winning, I like to think, business plan. And what I mean by a winning business plan, if you're going to be in business at all, or you're thinking about it, or even if you're currently in business and you're kind of stalled, you need to have a business plan. What that business plan does, it's a roadmap. It's a book that kind of tells you what you want to do, where you're going, and where you're at right now, and how you're going to get from here to there. Now, it doesn't have to be a book. By all means, don't make it one unless you're trying to attract large dollar investors. It can be as thin or as small as probably 4 pages. I'm going to talk about what a minimal business plan is, and then one that's a little bigger, and why you would maybe want either one. And the reason for that is if you're doing it for yourself, and possibly you want to take it into the bank, get a line of credit or something like that, that will help you. It will help you tremendously because when you walk into the bank, I talk to bankers all the time. I was talking to one yesterday, and he tells me, he says, I know within 10 seconds sometimes if we're going to be able to help this person when they come in. I always ask them, well, how much money do you need? And if they give me an answer back, well, how much can I get? I know these guys aren't prepared, and I'm going to have a tough time trying to get them any kind of financing. So keep that in mind. If you have a small business, if you need money, you need to know how much money. We'd like to prepare you. This is what we do with our clients. We prepare them so when they walk into that bank, they sit down and say, well, I need money. I need $100,000, and this is what I need it for. X for equipment, X for operating expenses, X for set aside, and that will knock the socks off that banker. So always, you want to kind of think about that. Um, Banks right now are starting to ease up on lending money, but they have to keep to certain rules, and the rules kind of have changed. You can't go in and say, well, I have all these assets out here, even though I'm not paying any taxes. That won't cut it. The first rule of thumb is if you're not paying taxes, you're not going to get a loan. So you need to understand that your tax returns have to reflect the fact that you can pay this loan back. Your financials have to reflect the fact that you have the income available that you can pay the note and at the same time keep your business going. So you can sustain if the economy takes a dip, if it goes flat, or hopefully if it takes off and you don't get lost in the shuffle. So we help businesses with those kinds of efforts. We bring them, we go over their finances with them. We help them set goals. We help them set their business plan. And that's kind of what this seminar is about, developing a business plan. So I hope that you can set that time aside. I know that it will be worth it. Let me talk about some of the other sponsors that will be there. Cathay Bank will be there. Cathay Bank is trying to move into helping small businesses. It is a Chinese bank, but they have turned their emphasis a little more to helping all types of small businesses, and especially if you want to do trade. So give it a look. Give Ms. Gonzalez a call, and I hope to see you there. Now, some of the other things I want to talk about is taxes. I'm going to talk increasingly a little more about taxes, but first, let's give an update. Tuesday, everyone should know that the Affordable Care Act went into another stage of effect, and that is the health exchanges around the country. Some a little more effective than others, but in California, they'd opened up, and you had the ability to call and sign up and begin to shop for health insurance. Now, this is at the individual level. The business level doesn't really go into effect until next year. And what I mean by that, if you have a small business with less than 50 employees, you do have that option if you want to offer insurance to your employees and have made available to you the tax credit for health insurance. But let's go back. The exchange opened up in California, and it opened up to sort of mixed reviews. A lot of people got online, and the system sort of crashed. The phone lines got jammed. Sometimes there were waits of up to, I heard, 30 minutes or more. If you went online to sign up, I heard it would freeze up after you got your information in. And if that happened, you didn't know if your information was there or not. But those are sort of glitches that happen when a new system, especially one that's going to be as big as this one, sort of open up. So keep trying. Actually, you can't really buy the insurance yet. It gives you the chance to look around, to put in an application, and then come January 1st or actually January 2nd, you can purchase the insurance. The open enrollment period is extended from October 1st, I think, to about March 15th. And that's this year. I don't know if they'll do it again next year. Normally, it's going to be about 75 days. So next year, it may just be from September until December, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And interesting enough, October 1st was the beginning of the new fiscal year for the government, and it has some other things are happening because of that. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I still want to sort of talk more about make sure if you have not told your employees, if you have less than 50, you need to inform them about the health insurance exchange for California, where they can go online and they can look it up, or there's a number where they can call and talk to someone. There are some clinics that around town and I guess around the state that are actually signing people up or doing the work for them to try to help them get insurance. But you really can't purchase the insurance until the beginning of the year. It's just you're signing it up, you're getting ready, and then when you do your taxes, and we'll talk about that in upcoming episodes, because tax returns, no matter what bracket you're in, will change because of this kind of health insurance or the Affordable Care Act. It's making some interesting changes in everybody's tax return. So we'll talk more about what's coming up after the break. You're listening to Rant Radio Network. We'll see you. You're listening to the Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. We'll be right back.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, two things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number one tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number one. There's only number one. There's only number one.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home. At AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.agrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos Español.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's, customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
Welcome to Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. I am your host, Anthony Sykes. Welcome back, everyone, to the RantRadioNetwork.com. I'm Anthony Sykes. Give us a call. We'd like to hear what's on your mind. 855-969-7268, or send me an email, and I'll answer your question on the next show. I had a couple emails as a matter of fact, but one of them was to kind of go over again what I talked about last week in the when our individual taxes due. Actually, they're due in a couple weeks. October 15th is the deadline for individual taxes. And then they asked, they said, I'm going to owe. And do I have any options? Do I have to pay if I don't have the money? And the answer is no. IRS has come up with what they call a fresh start for taxpayers. Actually, what that is if what you owe is less than $50,000, then you can set up an online payment program. If it's if you can pay it in 72 months. Now, if you can't, if the amount's too large or the monthly payment's too large, then you're going to have to probably call and talk to them and submit financial statements to show that you need to be able to pay it in a lesser amount. And right now, that's going to be fairly difficult because as of October 1st, the government's kind of shut down. And that's what I'd like to talk about a little bit here. The budget impasse and what I guess one side and my own personal feeling is that these guys, whether Republican or Democrat or independent, are just bent on sort of self-destructing, and we the people are the casualties. However, the government did not get funded, and it shut down except for what they call essential services. That is the military. They will get paid. Some criminal investigators in the federal government, and probably FBI, IRS, or something. Some a scale, minimal scale of workers. So government is just very slow. But the national parks and things are shut down. What I got is for IRS, and I'm kind of reading it here in part. The telephones do not work. By that, no one is there to answer the phone. If you have a audit, you should consider that to be canceled. And as soon as it comes back, they will talk to you. Now, you might think that, okay, the government kind of shut down and IRS isn't functioning, or whoopee. That's not how it works. You still have to pay taxes. The tax law is still in effect. What is going to happen is your refund may not come. So if you filed your taxes and you're expecting that refund, it may not get here until after they've kind of reached some agreement on this budget situation, because there's no one to send out the check. If you have a tax problem, if you received what's called a 30-day letter, intent to levy or something, and you want to buy some time, well, you've got the time. Unfortunately, that clock does not stop. So if this goes for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, then it could be your time is up and some type of action is going to be taken against you. So a lot of things are not good when it comes to the shutdown if you're dealing with IRS. Now, I want to kind of read this from the list here. How does this affect me was the question. You should continue to file taxes and file and pay taxes as normal. That is, the individual deadline is October 15th, as I said before. All other tax deadlines remain in effect for individuals, corporations, and so on. So there's no tax holiday. Doesn't mean you don't have to file, doesn't mean anything. However, if you have received any correspondence, you answer it, but you don't know when it's going to be responded back to. And that's the issue. That's the problem. Because now they're going to have a backload on top of a backload. And you don't know if your information or when the things that you need to have done within a time frame will be extended or will not be extended. You can file your tax return electronically or on paper, although the processing of paper returns are going to be delayed until full government operations resume. So that means if you had to send in a paper return, nothing's going to happen to it until the government is going again. Tax refunds, as I said earlier, won't be issued. So now maybe your joy that IRS is shut down isn't as likely because you're not going to get your refund. Tax software companies and practitioners, they talk about us, will be available to assist with taxes. Well, I in particular have an issue because what is happening is last year, the tax changes did not get put into effect until January. They started talking about it about this time, what they were or were not going to do. So this particular year, the 2012 tax year, it was a very tough year for a lot of tax preparers, a lot that I know. And now we're looking at 2013, maybe just as bad, if not worse, because the government is shut down. And IRS now is not designing forms. They're not putting in what they, the opinion of Congress for the law. So tax software companies, which I buy my software from a tax software company, as do all other preparers. Since you can no longer prepare a tax return by hand, you have to use the software because you have to electronically file it. We have to sit and wait and wait and wait until this is resolved. Now, what does that mean to our clients? Probably they're going to pay more. The Affordable Care Act is kicking in or is taking effect on the 2013 returns. So we need to know what is going to appear on those tax returns. IRS needs to design those forms to show us where a credit or a possible penalty may or may not be. And we don't have any of that information. We don't know. The software companies don't know yet because no one is there to tell us. So that's what a large part of the effect is for everyone who files taxes. Everyone is affected by this shutdown, and it's over. My opinion, it's over. It's a political football. The Affordable Health Care Act. So I'm not. My judgment is not. Is it good or is it bad? My job is to help my clients apply the taxes as they're supposed to be and taking this into account. And I have an issue with Congress because they seem to be throwing things up just because they can't get what they want. Now, should they have a compromise? Yes. And I think now I'm getting a little political. Let me move back into what this show is about. And that's for you, the small business owner. And what can you do to try to plan? Well, right now, the best thing you can do is assume that you're going to be paying some taxes, possibly setting aside more money in anticipation of having to pay some taxes. I would assume the rates are, while they may stay the same, the deductions may not be. So that's why I'm saying there may be a higher tax to pay. You should be planning on trying to generate new business. How is your branding of your company? Are you getting out there so that people understand or recognize your brand, and are they looking at you to be better than your competition? That's something that you should be working on. There's nothing that you can do about the taxes other than plan for as they are now, and that's what we do. But we try to help you in your business to grow. We want you to be able to find new ways to increase your income and increase your bottom line profit. That's the number that you really should be concerned with. If your sales go up 10% and your net profit goes down 1%, then you've lost something, and something is not going right. Sales go up 10%, hopefully your net profit goes up at least 1%. Sure, your expenses will go up, but your profit should go up. That's the number that you're concerned with. That, as consultants, that's the number that we're concerned with when we try to help our clients. We use a variety, we use a couple good programs that help our clients identify their expenses, and we help them to reduce their costs to increase their profit. We look at this shutdown of operations as what it is. It's an inconvenience. It's something to deal with. It's something that we have no change or control over, and therefore we move on. We look at what can we do to help our clients. What can we do to keep going? We'll talk more about this after the break. You're listening to the Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. We'll be right back.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Swing and a
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
Nurses Life Express provides unique apparel for all the hardworking nurses that wear many hats. It is apparel that expresses nurses' amazing, humorous, and caring personalities. After all, nurses are as influential as their united goal to help others. Nursing's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. For more information, please call 562-270-4312 or visit their website at www.nurselife.com. www.nurselyfe.com. Nurseslife.com, where nurses' lives are expressed.
We are the Three Guys Rant, coming to you live every Thursday from 5 to 6.
You can call us at 855-69 The Three Guys.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's, the other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69-3-GUYS, G-U-Y-S, and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
Welcome to Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. I am your host, Anthony Sykes. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the RantRadioNetwork.com. I'm Anthony Sykes. Give us a call, 855-969-7268. Like to know what you're thinking and what you think about this government shutdown. What we were talking about is how it affects you. Now, the shutdown affects a lot of things. If you were planning on going to San Francisco to visit Alcatraz, you can go to San Francisco. You just can't get to Alcatraz because that's a federal park. All the federal parks are closed. Most everything in the federal government is sort of on a minimal. And therefore, anything where the public can go see, the national galleries and museums and so on, those may be shut down. I was even watching, I like to watch the NASA channel, and they have a screen up that says, well, due to the lapse in the government funding, or the lapse in funding, that there's nothing there, and they apologize, and when the government gets back going, it'll get back going. So a lot of things are affected. However, again, as I talk about, the focus of this show is that a lot of things I talk about is business and how it affects or taxes and how it affects your business or you personally, and that's kind of the focus. Reading on the Affordable Care Act, and I'm still reading it. It is a very complex kind of law, and it affects a lot of things tax-wise. You can pay a penalty if you have too, I guess, expensive of a plan, and you get a credit if your plan it doesn't cover enough, so it kind of helps you offset. But we'll talk about that in the affordable health care as we get closer and closer to the end of the year, and we'll talk about it more in upcoming issues. What I do want to talk about is the shutdown. I printed up some things, and it's kind of how is the shutdown affecting other things. And this is a reprint, I guess, kind of from Forbes. It talks about the good news. IRS is, there's no audits. Well, the audits will be there as soon as the government comes back. They're going to be audits. Now they've got to make up for the time lost. So the IRS people, the agents and the office auditors or office examiners may now be under greater pressure to conclude an audit, because where they had, let's say, 3 scheduled this week, now if this shutdown lasts only 2 weeks, they may have 6 when they come back. 3 that were this week, and then 3 in another week, and now they have to get those done in the same time frame almost. So they may be less likely to give on anything, or use some discretion in allowing some deduction. So that would then force you to possibly disagree, and so that it can move on to another stage, and it might be out of their hands, and someone else would be dealing with that case instead of them, which means you, the taxpayer, if it happens to be you, and the preparer, if it happens to be me, have a lot more work and expense. So that's not necessarily all that good. There's only going to be, out of the total workforce, it's about 10%. So there's about 90,000 IRS workers. So about 8,700 will be working. That's what I meant by a skeleton crew. And of that, there's a small list that's going to be paid, the assistant acting director and chief of staff and so on. Well, those guys get paid, but a lot of the other workers, the revenue agents, the office examiners and so on, these are furlough days. And if you remember, they've already had some furlough days this year through no cost or no problem of their own. They did not create this. This again was a part of that continuing political struggle between each party. So now you can see that these federal employees, not only is their workload affected, but their financial lives are affected, and they may not be in the best mental mood to be very gracious or very helpful when you talk with them on the phone, and so on and so on, because they're human just like you and I, and if they have other things that distract them, they're going to deal with those things that they have to in order to handle those distractions. Also, the federal courts, in particular tax court, I see here it says the tax court will remain open, but the IRS memo that I got this morning said that they were going to close tax court. Now, I don't know about the federal courts, if they're going to be open or not. That's remaining to be seen. But the taxpayer advocate staff, they're going to have 45 people who will maintain that office, and that's to cover the entire country. There are some, I believe, 190 million returns filed, something to that effect, and not all of them have problems, obviously. But even if 0.5% does, that is surely enough to overwhelm these 45 people. So everything is looking at, it's going to be really bogged down, really slow, and we got to remember that it takes time to come back up. Now, the criminal investigators, and those are ones who are working in an ongoing operation. So they come under those special rules, as I was talking about. It doesn't make good sense to for these guys, and they can't, with their personal safety involved, sort of stop. Oh, I'm not getting paid, I have to stop. And so these guys are paid, and they're working undercover, or they're working on some kind of case or whatever. So there's a bill that covered them, and they're moving along. Another one is that, let's see, 100 employees in the international division of IRS. Another 300 in the small business and self-employed division. So that's sort of nationwide. Now you're talking about normally there were thousands, but you can't contact these people by phone because they're not the customer service people who work on the phone. So these are ones behind the scenes, so to speak. They're doing work, keeping some of these moving these cases along so that they can come to some conclusion or some resolution. We just can't talk to them, and therefore, they will get even more burden once the government comes back to normal. Now, the Office of Professional Responsibility, which oversees tax preparers and so on, anyone who deals who represents people before the Internal Revenue Service, that office has a small skeleton crew working also. But again, they're going to be just as swamped once it comes back. Now, how long could this last? I don't know. The last time we had this kind of shutdown was about 20 or 17 to 20 years ago, and it lasted 3 weeks. And it was over what we call the budget itself. Now, this is not over the budget. They haven't agreed on the budget in 3 years. This is over the Affordable Care Act. So it is just it is sort of something other than what the budget is. So I don't know how long this is going to go on and how serious it can be, if there will be any discussions or not. Now, I've kind of covered an overview of IRS and what's going to happen, and from there, the Office of Emergency Information, the hotlines, and that stuff, that those will be functioning. They just won't function as well. Your wait could be easily 45 minutes to an hour. In normal times, calling or getting through to IRS through customer service can be as long as an hour before you get to someone, and then by the time it's concluded, you might have been on the phone for easily an hour and a half. We'll talk a little more about it after the break. You're listening to the Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Coy Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation. research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
Number one. Number one.
Is that a stutter or as high as you can count?
I was ordering number one tequila.
Everybody's asking for number one.
Great, another fancy bottle.
These guys are true artists. Never compromise integrity. They make tequila
Come
in the
on.
fashion. Never mass produced.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying have the number one. Anything less is number two. Number one, tequila.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. 3 quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
Hey people, are you ready?
Are you ready for some football?
No, it's called a triple threat.
Wait, a triple threat of what?
Entertainment, gossip, and pure fun.
It's Tinseltown Talkies, Thursdays at 6:30 p.m.
Only on www.rantradionetwork.com. Don't miss out if you want to be a part of all the action.
With Rasha and Pimo.
That's right. See you then.
Welcome to Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. I am your host, Anthony Sykes. Welcome back, everyone, to rantradionetwork.com. I'm Anthony Sykes, and to my left is Trisha Hugues. Give us a call, 855-969-7268. We'd like to know what you think. We're talking about during the break, and I was talking about before the break, the shutdown. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is if you are going through an audit right now, all audits are suspended for right now. All audit activity is suspended, so you get a little bit more time to get your stuff together. Not that you're unorganized or anything. But I don't have much to say about that, about the whole audit thing. You know, they're going to come back, and they're going to come back in full force, I think, and they're going to have a lot of catching up to do. So I don't think it's a good thing that they're suspending it. But what can you do?
No, there's not a whole lot. I mean, it actually puts a lot more pressure on everybody, and I'm talking about the shutdown itself. The audit is just the audit portion is a symptom. We have clients that want to create corporations or different entities, and one of the things we do, we can get it through the state, we can get it created. But now, how do you get the tax ID number so they can go to the bank and open up a bank account?
Right.
That function is an automatic, but I don't know if it's still functioning. I haven't tried it yet, although it says you have one per day. I guess you can now ask for one tax ID number per day.
But see, what I was told, or what my understanding is, you can't even get through if you called in, no matter what. That there's nobody there to answer the phones.
That is correct. Nobody's there to answer the phone, and it now is really kind of paramount. Just a month ago, they didn't shut it down, but the electronic services where you could get a power of attorney and actually pull transcripts for a client and at least get an idea of what the issues they had if they received a letter. Now, since they've shut those functions down, and not just with the government shutdown, they took that program out of service, so you can't do that. So if a client comes in and they receive the notice, because the notice may be computer generated, they're all excited and they say, well, what do I do? The only thing we can do is say, wait till the government comes back. And that doesn't really set well.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you. It means sleepless nights for the client and so on. So those are the things that I think affect are sort of the unseen part of the shutdown.
Well, and then we get their aggression, or we get their, they get upset with us. And I mean, we have no control of it, but when you're wanting to get your audit and everything taken care of and nobody's there to help you, you feel hopeless.
That is correct. That is correct.
How does that affect people? On October 15th is the last day for extensions. How does that affect those who have not filed yet?
Well, no, you can still file. You can file electronically. That's still working. The thing about electronics is it's still working, so it's on an automatic phase. Plus, there's a skeleton crew there. You just can't reach them. If you owe money, obviously you can send in money, but if you are due a refund, that's where you're going to have an issue.
Right. Man, you waited all this time to get your refund, and then it's not there. Well, but they will take your money.
Yeah, they will take your money. They will issue a refund when the government comes back. Now the question becomes, will you get interest on it if the shutdown is extended? Will you receive interest on your refund? Who knows?
Will you receive more interest and penalties when you owe?
Well, that's true, because if you mail in a check, they may not cash it in time, again, because there is a skeleton crew. But my understanding with the lock boxes, and that's what those P.O. boxes are when you send in the money, that it actually, there's a bank employee or an IRS employee that gets it and takes it to the bank. So it really goes directly to a bank, and the bank deposits those checks in the name of IRS. So your checks may get cashed, so don't think you can float.
But do you see a possibility of the checks being cashed, however nobody is there to input this person paid, or this person, of course they're going to cash the checks, but who's there to do the work and say put in the...
Oh, no, there may not be.
Yeah.
So you will have to wait some time before that gets straightened out. So you could receive several letters that you owe more monies than you do. You may have to prove to the government that you sent the check and that you sent it on time, that it was cashed, and you have to make a copy of the front and back of that check and send it to them. So if you don't receive your checks back with your bank statement, you might want to at least call the bank and get that, because you may not know until January or February if they're going to send you a bill for additional interest and penalties due.
Yeah. Now, do we have I know we don't have a time. I know, we don't know how long this shutdown's going to be, but what do you think how long it would take for you to get your refund back? Could it go all the way to 2014 when you receive your refund?
Sure. Everything that I've read, it appears, and on this the healthcare issue, and that's what it is with the different factions of Congress. They want to shut down the government to defund the health care, and they're not budging. So the Democrats, and it seems to be on their side, it did go through the Supreme Court, which then said, all right, this is good, it's law of the land and everything else. They're not budging, because to stop and defund it and take it apart now would be kind of dumb. And until we get close to the end of the year, because next year I believe is an election year, and people start remembering or start thinking about, hey, I'm not getting my refund, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. Now, things like veteran services are still going, but we don't know for how long. They will remember, and someone will be voted out of office. Now, the House of Representatives, and the reason why they are act differently than senators is because they represent a smaller district. So their population base may be 100,000 people, as opposed to the senator, which is half the state, and they have to be a lot more responsive. They have to kind of do the bidding of what the biggest contributors say and the loudest critics say. Excuse me. So some of these guys are kind of forced, because they want to keep their jobs, into doing this. Now it comes, what you think about is that really right? And when I say that, if they believe in it, even though I think they're wrong, okay, I can understand that. If they're doing it because they want to keep their job and they don't, they're still doing what they're paid to do.
Right.
So that's where they're at. And when it all shakes out, will something happen?
Well, we're losing so much money right now with the government being shut down. I don't know. I guess I feel the same way you do. I think a lot of us feel that way. And even people that don't understand the whole issue for the government shutting down, it still upsets them. Just the thought, I think, of people thinking the government being shut down, it's just upsetting.
Well, it is. I mean, in that parts of the government gets paid. Congress still gets paid. A lot of these guys are millionaires, so they don't know what it's like. I should say more than a lot. Most are. And they don't know what it's like to go paycheck to paycheck. And so the federal employees who do and are bearing the brunt of this fight that they're having, it's rather frustrating as well as feeling powerless. I think we are running the risk of something else, totally voting everybody out who was there. So there's a totally new House of Representatives, and then nothing will ever get done. But at least you voted them out and put somebody else in there who's just as, partisan as the guy you kicked out.
Well, if they accept write-ins, Anthony Sykes, everyone.
No, I don't want to run for political office. I think you have to give up too much of yourself to do that. You start off with an ideal, but to get the money, you have to bend in so many ways that
listen to everybody else's ideas and kind of take it in.
Yeah. So, at any rate, we're coming to an end here, and I'd like to say
thank you. Thank you for letting me on these last 15 minutes.
We'll see you on the next show. This is Rant Radio Network. You're listening to the Sykes Accounting and Consulting Radio Show. We'll be right back.